Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be installing this Chamberlain MYQ smart garage door opener. So we've got three big garage doors. We've got a 2-car garage door, really large wide door, single car, and then another single car door here. I've replaced the garage door opener on those two a couple years ago with that Chamberlain MYQ garage door opener with the battery backup, and it's been awesome. I really like those two, and these are the two main doors we use because this is where the cars are parked, at least when the garage is not a mess. So I wanted the battery backup on these, and if you see, that's the garage door opener there. I'll put the model for this one down in the description below if you do want the one with the battery backup. And then for that third garage door, that's mostly just storage, so I didn't necessarily want the battery backup with the extra cost of it. Decided to go with the same unit, but without the backup battery. I did opt for belt drive for both of these that I replaced, and we got the belt drive for the replacement for that one as well. It is a chain drive right now, and with the belt drive, you're going to get much smoother operation and quieter operation. So this one was pretty much on its last legs. What was happening is I would hit the garage door opener and it would come up to maybe about here, get stuck there. And then I'd have to put it down and then hit the button again and give it some assistance with my hand and raise it up as it was going up, and that would work. And then it started getting to where the door was open and it was closing, and as it was closing, it would get to about here, and then boom, it would bump and go back because it was thinking it was getting stuck, but it was just the gear mechanism and everything slipping a little bit, and it was thinking that it was hitting an obstacle, and it would revert and open the door again. And finally, what happened last week was that it stopped working altogether. It's got all sorts of grinding sounds and everything happening with the garage door open. I'll go on the inside and show you what's happening right now. You'll have to excuse my big mess, moving a lot of things around in here, but let me show you what happened. So this is the old garage door opener that's in here. It is a 1/2 horsepower LiftMaster. I'm gonna hit the button and you guys can kind of hear what is happening. You hear it going and nothing's happening. So it can probably be fixed. We replace the gear mechanism, or who knows, I don't know what it would require to fix it, but if I'm taking that thing down to repair it, I'm going to replace it with a new one. This thing's looks like the original one from where the house was built. House was built in 1998 or 99, I think. So you might as well replace it, get the new MyQ unit in. That way I can control it from my phone app as well. First things first, I'm going to work on getting this entire thing down. I'm going to crawl my way up the ladder. Let's get this guy out. Just rotate it. That's out. And we'll take this pin out. Oop, and that fell right there, because I'm using one hand on the camera. Now what we're going to do is disconnect all the wires from this unit here, the garage door opener, unplug it, and then finally unbolt it and bring it down, and we'll place it right on top of the ladder here for safekeeping while we go back and remove the other end. The wiring on this particular one is right behind this light cover right there. You can see. Before I touch any of that wiring, I'm going to unplug the garage door opener from power source. Now, what we want to do is make sure we know which wires are going where. I am getting this on video, so remember you've got the 2 red wires that are wound up together going to number 3. You got all the white wires going to your common and in the middle, and you've got your single red wire going to number 1. So I'm going to remember where those go. I'm going to grab a little Phillips screwdriver, undo each of those, then just gently pull them out of the top and make sure they're not attached to the garage door opener itself. You can leave them zip tied to your support bar up here and just tuck them out of the way. Let's unscrew this light bulb, get it out of the way. Okay. I just wrap the white ones around the middle and then the red ones on either end. That way they're not going to move around and touch each other for now. Pull it up, make a little bend right there. That way these stay up and out of the way. Next, we are going to make sure there's no other wires connecting anything over here, and there's not. Now I'm on top of the garage door opener. This is the bar that goes from the opener all the way to the wall and the chain that wraps around the entire assembly. And if we pull this little cap off, you can see the gear there. All of this is one piece. It's all in one piece, nothing's broken. So the actual failure, all that grinding sound we were hearing when we gave it a shot earlier, is inside the actual opener itself. At this point, we're ready to drop the garage door opener down. I'm going to grab a wrench, put on here, socket on this side for the nut, remove that nut, remove this nut, and I'm going to leave both bolts in there, then remove the bolts one by one and gently lower the entire unit onto the top of the ladder. Let's see. Yep, that works fine. All right, that side's loose. Let's get this side. All right, that side's loose as well. Let me get both of these nuts off. Now that I've got both of those nuts off, what I'm going to do is bring my ladder, reposition it right here, directly under the garage door opener. Then we'll come back up here and hold the garage door opener up just by hand, take a little bit of weight off the bolts, take those two bolts out, and then lower it onto the top of the ladder. Got it under the garage door opener. Now let's go up there and take that down. I'm probably not going to get that on camera because I'm going to need both of my hands. So I'll be right back. Now we've got it lowered down on top of the ladder. What I'm going to do is hold this up with one hand. If you have another person to help you, it would be a great time to grab their assistance. But I'm going to hold this up with one hand by myself. And then I'm going to, as I'm holding that up, move the ladder out of the way and then gently lower this. Now I've got this guy on the floor, and that is disconnected up there. It's just leaning up against the wall. Next thing we want to do is remove this bar from the top of the garage door opener. And you can see there is two bolts. One bolt right there and one bolt right there. I'm going to remove those two. And then as soon as I remove those, that bar will be able to move a little bit. We'll move it a little bit towards the gear and pull the chain off the gear, and then set that bar aside and set this garage door opener aside for the trash pickup next week. Got one bolt out, let's get the second one. All right. That bar slid down. We've got the chain off that sprocket. Now I'm gonna take this entire assembly with two hands and gently lay it on the floor. Let's unpack the new one. All right. Interactive 3D instructions. Woo! That is the keypad for outside. We'll put this aside for now. There's the belt assembly. All right, put that aside. What else do we got in here? There's the cap for the gear. That is one of the brackets, I think, for the rail.
Another bracket. All right, nothing else in there. Let's check this little cubby. Bunch of hardware, ropes, C-clips, stuff like that. That is the little trolley assembly. That's the connector for the rail. A couple of brackets for the garage door. Is that it? I see something else. Oh, a little L bracket. All right, that's all that's in those two. The rest should be in here and maybe under this assembly here. Got this guy out. Let's leave that plastic on there. The garage door opener. The wiring for the sensors, I think. There's a remote. It's the 1-button remote that comes with this guy. There is another 1-button remote. And your 2 door sensors. All right, this is just the garage door opener itself. Let me put this aside. And underneath all this should be another box. Yep, there it is, with the pieces of the rail. These all assemble to make that one long rail. I'm gonna put all my trash back in this box so it's out of the way, and then we can get started. Next, you wanna read the dang instructions. Most of these are set up pretty similarly. There's not a lot of difference between one and the other. Generally, first thing you do is assemble the rail. In this one, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of the rail, and then that little bracket at the end. These are the 5 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can count, I promise. And then that bracket at the end is this guy. So we're gonna unpack this, see which ones are different. Here we go. So we got 4 of these that are the same, and you've got one of them with the giant hole in it, which we'll find out what it's for here in a minute. If you look at the instructions, the one with the big hole in it, a little opening, right? Let me see, can I focus? There, right there. See that square rectangle notch in it? So that goes at the end, facing outwards, and then you got the other 3 pieces that go into it. Here's the first 2 pieces lined up. You've got this rectangle notched piece, rectangle facing that way. You've got this little tab, which we'll show you here and a little bit later what it's for, facing this direction. Then you're gonna have the next piece going in here. You're gonna need a little bit mallet or hammer or something. You'll have to position it with this hole facing this direction. It's facing towards me. We'll tap this one in. What I'm gonna do is hold it upright, and hard to do this with one hand. There we go. And you hear it, it's not going anywhere after that. Next, I'm gonna do the same with the follow-up piece. Next one here. We'll rotate it like so. I have the hole facing towards me again, and I'm gonna knock this one in and then the other 2. Got this all assembled. Now we're gonna take this piece right here. It's going to be situated like so, and I'm gonna tap it into the end until this little bump gets to the edge of the square tubing. So right there, that direction, we're gonna tap it in until that bump right there gets to here. Oh, but before we do that, I'm going to get the trolley put on. Let me see if I can do this with one hand. Trolley goes on this direction. Yep, there we go. All right, so that's on. Now we're gonna get that piece tapped on. There it is, that is on, trolley's on. Next step in the instructions is to get it attached to the actual garage door opener assembly. So that U-bracket right there, which we just tapped on, we are going to attach that with these two shorter bolts to right here. And then we're gonna have a longer bolt and a lock nut that comes in and sits right there. I think that's the stop for the trolley. Let's get those assembled. Before I do anything else, I opened my bag of hardware, got everything somewhat organized so I can tell what's where and how many of each piece I have. I've got this garage door opener sitting on a little wheeled stool. Get the wiring out of the way. So the two bolts, the short ones, we're gonna use to hold the U bracket down. They're actually on here already. So we're gonna loosen these up, take them out, and then attach our U bracket to those two holes. Now we'll get this lined up. Okay, let me get this first bolt started and I'll be right back. Now we're going to take this bolt here and this lock nut, and we're going to put them through this first hole right here. Get it through the bottom and attach the lock nut. Got that on there. Those are nice and tight. Let's move on to the next step. So now we're going to be working at the other end of the rail. We're going to install the belt, the bolt, washer, and nut, and the pulley assembly. And then that little tab I showed you, we're gonna bend it upwards like this. Hang tight, I'll show you how that works. The parts you're gonna need for this next step are the belt assembly. Go ahead and straighten it out. And the side you want is the side with the hook. There's a reason why. I'll show you in a minute. The other three pieces you're gonna need are this bolt right here that the pulley will rotate around. You're gonna need this larger lock washer and this larger nut. Those go together. And you're gonna need this pulley. There's a reason there's tape around it, because it's pre-greased in the middle. So there's grease already in the middle, so it rotates smoothly around the shank of that bolt. So remove the tape when you're ready to use it, but try not to get any dirt in there. Reason you need the side with the hook. You're gonna take this and feed it through from this side to that side, and then you're gonna feed it up this side of the rail, and it's gonna hook to the trolley right here, right in that hole right there. So you wanna get the side with the hook, you wanna feed it through that hole, and then bring it up. Make sure you don't do it backwards. Here we are on this end. So this hole right here is for the bolt. This cutout is for the pulley. Before I put that in there, first I want to feed this belt assembly through. Just leave it hanging right there. Now what we'll do is take the tape off of our pulley. You see the little dab of grease that's in there. So I'm gonna hold my pulley in there with one hand, or like that, that works too. And we'll get the bolt, we'll put it through. Look at that, one-handed. We'll rotate the pulley around as we put that through so that the grease spreads. Keep rotating it around a little bit, make sure it's not binding up. Had to put my camera down so I could hold the bolt and turn the pulley with the other hand. Now you want to get this lock washer put on under there, and then the nut. Don't over tighten it. As soon as you see the metal starting to deform, that's it. Don't tighten it more than that. If you keep tightening it, you're just gonna smash all of this together, because this will smash. There's nothing there holding it. Make sure your pulley still turns freely, and you're good to go in this step. Next thing you want to do before going on is bend this tab upwards. You want to put your flathead screwdriver in there and bend it that way. You see it bent a little bit? Then you put your screwdriver in here and bend it the rest of the way. Doesn't have to be totally vertical, just enough to act as a stop for the trolley. Next step is to install the belt along with the tensioner and all the clips and everything that hold it in place. First things first, grab this hook end that you threaded through, bring it all the way up. Take the trolley, so here's that set screw, take the trolley and move it past this hole. Then grab yourself a Phillips screwdriver or something small enough, put it through this hole. That way this stops against it. Now we're going to take the side of the belt that we looped through the pulley, bring it right here. You can see the end of the hook, place it in here, then turn like so. Now you want to take the other end of the belt. We'll take this protective cover off the sprocket. I'm going to pull it hand tight, put around a couple of the gears. Then you'll see it sort of reaches nice and tight there. Don't pull too hard. It sort of reaches, but not all the way. Let me show you what you do next. Here are the pieces you're going to need for the next step. This guy, this threaded shaft with the preloaded spring piece on there. The C-clip, this 2-pin retainer, and this piece that goes over it. First thing we need to do is undo this from the threaded shaft. So unscrew this, take it off completely. Now you've got this piece left. You want to find this hole right here on your trolley, put that through there. All right, it won't come all the way through because you've got that flattened end. And now you want to screw this piece back on to the shaft. We've got that partially threaded on. Now we want to connect this to this before we move on. First, you want to take this piece, place it in the end of that cable like so. Then you'll insert it into the other end like that. Next, what we're going to do is take this little piece and place it over the end. Make sure it's pushed in all the way. And finally, what you're going to do is take this guy. I'm going to need both my hands, but you'll slide it over both of these pins, starting with one end and pushing it over the other to lock it all in place. Once you're all done, that's what it's going to look like. And that should be it as far as that goes. Now we need to tighten the belt. It's obviously too loose. The way you do that, no tools required, you do this by hand. You grab this guy and turn, continue turning clockwise until it is hand tight. I just got a few turns out of it and you still got some slack on the belt. Next thing you need to do is release the clip. Let me show you how to release the clip. When I say releasing the clip, what it does is release the spring tension so that the spring loads. And once it does that, it puts additional tension on the belt and that sets it to the optimal pressure on the belt. If you look at the diagram here, it kind of gives you a visual. You need to take a flathead screwdriver, put in one of the notches, and then tighten that square nut on the end. If we look back at the assembly, you see the notch right there. So we'll take a flathead screwdriver, put it right there, try to hold it as tight as possible, and then I'm going to put a wrench on this square nut and gently tighten it until you feel a pop and the spring tension release it. Until you feel a pop and the spring tightens. I needed both my hands, sorry, couldn't get that on video, but you can see the springs extended now, and it's tightened. You still have a bit of slack on here, but now it's set to the optimal tension. Again, hand tighten as much as you can, then put a flat head in there, tighten this nut, and you're done. Next, we want to install the sprocket cover. That's this plastic thing, and as you can see, it has grease on the inside of it already. It's pre-greased. If we place it on there, it lines up with those 3 bolt holes. Here are the 3 little screws you're going to need. Let's get them put on. Now the next steps for me are pretty straightforward. If you're replacing a garage door opener and not installing it from scratch, if you get lucky, which in most cases you will, most of these are pretty standard fit, it will be pretty easy to line up with the old gear. The 2 metal brackets on the side of the garage door opener more than likely will line up with your brackets on the ceiling. There's plenty of play there. And on the other end, the hole right there on the end of that bracket more than likely will line up with those holes. So I'm going to take the old pin, really long pin, and one of the new retaining clips up the ladder, and I've placed this on the ladder, and if you look at the other end, I've placed it on my little roller so I can move it around. I'm going to go up the ladder, place that end in the middle of that bracket, put this pin and this retainer through it, and I think that should be it. That's it. So downside of this is it's got too much play because this bracket's wider than the new one, which is almost the same width as this. Will it cause any problems? I don't know. We'll find out. Am I too lazy to replace this bracket? Well, for now, I'm going to leave it there. And if it works, it works. Can you blame a guy? If it doesn't work, I'll just take that off, screw the new bracket onto the wall, and we'll be good to go. But for now, I'm going to try it like this. So now that that's on, let's go and get that guy lifted up and mount it up there. And we got this guy lifted up, sitting on top of my ladder, and the brackets are right here. So what I'm going to do is lift it up. I've got my hardware right here. I'm going to put the nuts and bolts in my pocket and have 1 bolt handy to easily slip through there. I got to put the camera down, but I'm going to lift this up, line it up with the holes that line up with this. I'm going to pull the brackets back 1 hole and then use that hole. So say if it lines up here, I'm going to pull that bracket back to here, pull a little bit of tension on it, and then put the bolt through the hole. Got it situated on both sides. These are just on. I'm going to go ahead and tighten them up with my ratchet. Then we'll get to the wiring. So based on how my wiring was connected before, I think these are my door sensors. They're wrapped together, and this one's probably the button that goes on the wall. The door opener button that mounts to the wall, your red and white, are going to go to the red and the white terminals towards the left. And for the reversing sensors, you're going to loop your white together. They're going to go here, loop your red together. They'll go there. Pretty straightforward. So these 2 being for the door opener, I'm going to trim the wire a little bit to shorten them up, and it'll be red and white. And now if you've never used these terminals before, this little button at the bottom, you push it in to release and you let go. So you basically push this in, put your wire in there, your bare wire, and you let it go and it holds it in place. So these 2 are in place. That's for the garage door opener button that mounts on the wall. And these 2, I'm going to get them cleaned up a little bit and insert them into those 2 black and white holes. Got all of those in, nice and firm. No copper wire sticking out, so those are good to go. I'm going to put a light bulb in here and then pop this other cover off, put a light bulb in there, and we'll be all done with the attachments and the wiring. The
The only thing left is to get this guy plugged in up there, which I'll do in a minute. And then you can leave this door open because you're gonna need to do a little bit of programming right here. I got the light bulbs inserted. I have not plugged it in yet to the outlet. I need to do one more thing before I do that. I've got to install the wall switch. Pretty straightforward to install these. You've got one screw hole on top right there, and you've got a screw right here. So you want to put this screw in the wall, use it to hang it, and then once you've got it hung there, get it situated, and then put this screw in that goes right here, and it'll be situated and firmly mounted on the wall. Before you screw it onto the wall, you want to connect the wires. So get your old wall switch off, and you'll have a red and a white wire. Red goes right here. Loosen up this Phillips screw, attach it. White goes right here. Loosen up that one and attach it. And after that, you'll screw this guy onto the wall. You'll be all set and ready to go. Sorry guys, forgot to hit record when I was installing the wall switch, but that's on. Now we're going to take this guy and plug it into our outlet on the ceiling. Woohoo, we got lights on. For programming, one more thing we need to do is take your trolley and attach it to that rod right there. Disengage your trolley by pulling this knob down right there. That way it'll slide. Send it all the way over there, way up on the ladder. You'll want that. And this old bracket to get lined up right. Keep going, right there. That hole and that hole. And once you get them lined up, put this short pin through it and the retaining clip, and that'll be done. Like so. That's on there. Now we need to program the up position and the down position. If you read through the instructions, it's pretty self-explanatory. You hold the middle button until the up button begins to flash. Then you press the up button until the door is in the highest position desired. Press the program button, then the down button starts to flash, and you hold the down button till it's in the desired position. For the close position, press the middle button, and you're all done with the programming. Let's give this a shot. So, we're gonna hold this button. All right, the up button's flashing. Oh, that's not gonna work because our trolley is not connected. All right, we're gonna go all the way down. And let me zoom in here. That has to clip onto our trolley. Oh, I gotta engage that guy. As long as this is in the down position, it won't connect. So I gotta flip that up. We'll go back over there. All right, so I'll continue pushing down until that trolley clips on. There we go. All right, so we're going to press this up button till it is in the desired position for the door being open all the way. Not quite yet. Oh, not yet. Almost. Almost there. There we go, right there. What I wanted to see is a little bit of the lip of the roof. Not the roof, but you know, the top of the opening right there. So that's gonna be the desired up position. We're gonna hit the middle button, and now the bottom button is flashing. So we're gonna adjust it until the down position that we want is there. Now you want it to barely touch the floor. And if you're pushing the down button and it's not going anywhere, that's too much. So you saw it came up a little bit, and that's it. So now we're gonna hit the middle button again, and now it's going through and putting it in the up position. And you can hear these newer ones, once they get to that desired position, they actually slow down, so it's not slamming shut. That's it. So, middle button, hold till the top button flashes. Hold the up button till you get to the desired open position, hit the middle. Hold the down button till you get to the desired close position, hit the middle button. Then you wait till the beeps are done, it'll open up all the way, hit the button in the middle, it'll close to the close position, and you're all finished. We'll go ahead and close this guy up. All right, and that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and you find it helpful. The only other thing you need to do, which I'm not going to show in this video, is to download the MyQ app from your Play Store or your App Store, whether you're Android or iPhone. If you don't have a user ID yet, create one and then go through the steps to add this guy to your MyQ app. Then you can open and close it from your phone, and you can get notified if you left it open on accident. Or you could open it for your neighbor to go grab something at the garage and then close it. Pretty awesome to have. I'm not going to show that on this video. I may on another one. Hit the subscribe button below if you like this sort of content and appreciate the channel. And I'll continue uploading these kinds of videos as I get time to work on another project. In the meantime, I love you guys. I will see you next time.